Before the break, we asked which of these is the oldest continuing Looney Tunes character, and the answer is Porky Pig. What, you want a Stuart's inquiry on that?
Yeah, we thought Daffy Duck. We both
Daffy
thought
Duck,
that.
yeah,
And he's usually right on it all.
No, it's Porky Pig. Porky Pig. Welcome if you just joined us. We're live on Channel 5 and also live on My 5, of course. Henry and Carole are with me. And now I want your calls on this. Do you wish that Tony Blair was still Prime Minister? 0207 862 2222 is the number that you need to give us a ring. Now, we're asking this because the former Prime Minister has said in an interview that at times he wishes that he was still in power at number 10, adding that he started at his most popular and least capable and left at his least popular and most capable. I think it's a great way to describe a lot of Prime Ministers. So would you have him back if you could? It got us thinking this morning in the office about which other Prime Ministers the public might want to see in office dealing with modern day issues. So you've got Churchill, Thatcher, Blair, Johnson, Cameron. Carole, if I was to push you for a choice...
Don't have to push me.
What
I'm going to say Thatcher, but I'm going to say for the reason that not because every decision she made was a good one, but because she was a leader and she was strong and she was a politician of conviction. And if there'd been the kind of messing around that was going on with the Tories before they were deposed, it wouldn't have happened. That infighting should have sacked them. Should have just got rid. She wouldn't have that kind of fighting.
Because it was the infighting that saw her out of office, though.
Yeah, it was in the end, but she still had, how many years? 17? I can't remember. 13, 14, 17.
Nearly 11 years in power.
Okay, but she would not stand that kind of infighting. So,
okay. You know. Carole's gone for Thatcher. Henry?
I don't like any of these lot really that much. I mean, Blair, I understand why he would like to be in power because,
you want to go for the safe option?
No,
No,
Churchill, no. Actually, there's somebody who's Gordon Brown, I think.
Oh,
No. Gordon Brown is somebody who I kind of liked the arc of his career. I think he had a moral compass. I mean, he was behind the brains behind a lot of what Blair did, particularly when it comes to investment in health and education. And we saw what happened when this guy got into power. We saw this austerity, which was a choice.
But I'm going to have to push you for one of these.
I think it probably would be Blair, but the massive shadow of Iraq, he just kills his legacy.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is, Blair, I've got this kind of weird relationship with him in that he was the reason I voted Labour for a very long time. You know, before he came to power, when he was, and he's also the reason I stopped voting Labour in his third term because of Iraq. You know, but up until when I remember partying in the streets when he was elected because it felt optimistic. It felt like the country was going to change.
A new day has dawned, has it not?
It felt like that. It really felt like that to me. And by the time he got to his 13th year, I thought, oh my God, he's got to go.
Least popular and most competent. I mean, he talks in this interview about how it really does take a decade for a Prime Minister to actually change a country. Look, we've got your choices. Let's find out what people are saying at home. Janice in Essex. Janice, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the show. Who would you like to see back in office out of these five?
Oh, none of them. Can I just turn around and say, Carole Malone, I love you. Big up. You're great. You're great. You're a lady on my page. You tell it like it is.
OK, so you're going for Carole Malone as Prime Minister. I'm just going to note that down.
Carole Malone.
There's an idea. God, do you know what, Janice? The power would go to my head. That'd be terrible.
And you wouldn't get a clothing allowance because you've just vetoed that.
Put it down a bit.
Janice, I'm going to have to press you, though. Go on. If you had to pick...
No.
If you had to pick, who would you pick?
I'm not going to pick. All I'm going to turn around and say is Tony Blair took us into a war. He was great. We all voted for him. Yeah. He was great. But then he went into bed with Bush. And then he got Brown, who sold off all our money and our goods. Then, followed by that, we got Cameron, who decided we've all got to go into austerity. OK. Janice, not happy with any of those. Janice, thank you. Well, she's happy with Carole Malone, so I've noted that. Carole Malone. Deirdre in Northumberland. Deirdre, good afternoon. Could I offer you one of these lovely five former Prime Ministers? If you were to take one back to Downing Street, who would it be?
None of them. Maybe Gordon Brown, because he still does good. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Blair's indirectly, he's advising the present Prime Minister, himself and Mandelson. So, you know, he's still there, and the fact that his legacy is just absolutely shocking. I feel saddened that I walk the streets for her to get him elected because he let people down with the Iraq war. He did some good. I can't take that away from him. But since he left Parliament, you just need to see Kazakhstan, he's in cahoots with those people there. So is his wife, they're making millions.
There's quite a lot of allegations about Tony Blair. Are there none of the other ones that you would like to see come back to number 10?
Absolutely no, to be truthful.
Okay, Deirdre.
The one we've got there at the minute's not much better.
All right, Deirdre, thank you. Thank you for that. I'm still trying to get 2 calls already, none of the above we've had. Audrey in Manchester. Audrey, welcome to the show. Please tell me that you're going to pick one of these 5 to send back to Downing Street.
It's your lucky day because, yes, I am, and there's a reason for it. I would pick Margaret Thatcher.
Okay.
I was a teenager when Margaret Thatcher was still around, and my mother hated Margaret Thatcher with a passion. Never found out why. About 4 years before she died, I met Margaret Thatcher at a function in London, and I got a chance to talk to her briefly. Can I just say, you grow up with your parents' beliefs. So if your dad supported United, usually the summer, I met her, and I just thought, even as an elderly lady, there was no messing with her. She was straight to the point. She was straight as a die. She said it as it was. I think she would have solved lots of issues that we've gone through, Brexit particularly.
But at what cost, Audrey? At what cost? I mean, look at some of those areas of the north of England. They're still suffering now, 40 years later.
Every decision we make, there's a cost attached to it, no matter what we do. All I can say is I was a teen growing up with her. And I think if she was here now, I didn't particularly like Margaret Thatcher. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
But I think doing her job, I think she would have knocked people's heads together.
Audrey, when you met her, what did you talk about?
Well, it was a function. I mean, we were all dressed up, and it was kind of like one of those where you go, and she was very polite, very charming. Hi, how are you? Where have you travelled from today? And so, the usual thing. Oh, I'm from Manchester. Oh, you're not from London? No, I'm not from London. I'm from Manchester. My friends come up for this function. And I was basically the +1 at this function at the Grosvenor Park Hotel. I think it was the 20th anniversary Bruges dinner that she took me along to this. And I was terrified of meeting her, but honestly, I just thought as an elder lady, you can see in people, no matter how far in front, what that person was like, I think. And you could see the person that she still was, despite her age, and obviously ongoing frailty at that point. But I remember as a teenager growing up the things she did. I mean, I remember, the wars and the Iraq wars and everything else, and she just seemed fearless. She seemed to have a backbone, and let's be honest, many people in politics don't have a backbone.
Audrey, thank you. Thank you for that. I think it was the Falklands War, not Iraq, for Thatcher. Thank you for that. Carole, did you ever meet her?
I didn't meet her, but, I came from one of the mining villages that were destroyed by her policies. But I remember the year of the big strikes, my village, a lot of them voted for Thatcher, and they were all devastated at voting for her. But as my father said to me, and he was gutted, he came back from the polling station looking like, death. And I said, you voted for her, didn't you? And he said, she's a leader and I want the lights back on. And she got in and the lights came back on. And that's what happened in a lot of communities. All
right, let's take another call before we go. Morag in North Lanarkshire. Morag, welcome to the show. Which of this lot would you like to put back into number 10?
I'd like none of them to be back in number 10. I'm a bit distraught that you haven't got somebody as good as Gordon Brown.
Well, Henry made the same point.
You've already got 4 Conservative people there and only 1 Labour. Gordon Brown was one of the most outstanding political figures of the century. He was a fantastic Chancellor. He was a fantastic Prime Minister. And he did masses of good things for the country, particularly financial things. Why you haven't got him there, I just don't understand.
Well, look, he's currently leading our poll with 3 votes because Henry and another caller before you mentioned Gordon Brown. Why do you think he was, in your view, why do you think he was preferable to everybody else here? He was less showy of a Prime Minister, wasn't he?
Less showy. I think his downfall was he wasn't such a sharp politician. He wasn't so good at the politicking. as the rest of them were. But that withstanding, he was one of the most intelligent, hard-working and good prime ministers that we have ever had.
His misfortune was also that the global financial crisis happened on his watch, and he mobilised the banks and also other international.
Gold.
Well, it's sold the gold, you say, but you offset that by the way he saved our banking system with other world leaders and other chancellors and treasury ministers around the world. But Labour paid the price at the next election.
But when you look at Thatcher and Blair, and even for all the things people hate them for various reasons, they were politicians of depth, I think, and I think that's what's lacking in government today, in both Tory and Labour.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that Gordon Brown, because quite a few people now have mentioned Gordon Brown, he lacked the sort of media charisma?
Yes, he did.
To connect like Tony Blair did.
I did meet him a few times.
He's a shy man. I've met him myself many times.
He is a shy man, yes.
OK, let's squeeze a final call. Saria, apologies, in London. Saria, welcome to the show. Who would you vote for?
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
So, just to answer your first query, no, Tony Blair should not come back as a Prime Minister. He has blood on his hand.
Right.
He took us to an illegal war based on lies and following his American pals, shall we say.
So who would you put in? Because I've got to squeeze you for time. Who would you put in?
Sure. I would go for Thatcher, although she's a die-hard capitalist. At least she's got integrity.
OK.
And I trust her. And that's it.
OK, sorry, thank you. Well, it's a sort of a draw between Thatcher, Gordon Brown, who's not on here, and none of the above.
Well, I'm reminded of this mantra: all political careers end in failure, and that was by the late Enoch Powell. I don't normally quote him, but that was a very true statement.
This poll is interesting because number 6 on the greatest prime ministers is Boris, ahead of Blair, which I find astonishing because we all thought everyone hated
Well,
Boris.
that's because of the personal appeal, because he makes people laugh. A bit like Trump, but people think, oh, he's all right, I'd like a drink with him.
But
that's what it
they
is.
put Boris
but not
above
about a serious
Cameron.
leader.
Well, no, they put him above Cameron, they put him above John Major.
Maybe it's because he finished before his time. He only had 3 years.
Maybe.
But that was he was the author of his own misfortune.
OK, well, look, thank you to you both. It's been a pleasure to spend time with you.